We started our explorations in Barcelona by riding the funicular to Montjuic, a hill that rises 185 meters above the Mediterranean Sea. Montjuic is a lovely park. We enjoyed a pleasant 20-minute walk the rest of the way up from where the funicular ended. At the top is a fort. This cannon overlooking the harbor was made in 1898. A castle has existed here since 1640 and has been the scene of many important conflicts, including war between Catalonia and Spain. The castle moat has been made into a charming parterre garden. A broad terrace with another more modern cannon overlooks the city and the sea. The castle currently hosts a military museum, but the site has been transferred from military control to the municipal government of Barcelona, which plans to turn it into a peace center instead. A 17th century Habsburg coat of arms adorns the entrance to a tunnel that leads to an inner parade ground. In more recent times, the military under fascist dictator Francisco Franco carried out numerous executions at this site. Interestingly, this tower was the location of important geophysical research in the 18th century. At the time, the length of the meter was defined as 1/10,000,000th the distance from the North Pole to the equator, and the precise coordinates of this tower were used to help measure that distance accurately. Here we see one of the numerous wells that served the castle. They must have been very deep to reach water from the top of the mountain. You get a great view of Barcelona from the castle. A well-developed 9-kilometer scenic walking and biking path snakes along the Collserola Mountains visible in the background. You can also see from here the 170-meter spires of the Sagrada Familia Basilica, which are nearly as high as Montjuic. Instead of walking up, you can take a cable car from the funicular. The walk is so pleasant there's no reason to do so. The park has a multi-level overlook called the Mirador de l'Alcalde, whose ornate terraces feature fascinating mosaics made of recycled glass bottles and cut stones of different sizes, shapes, and colors. The view from here is spectacular, and the birds also find it a suitable place to pass the time of day. From Plaza de España, a wide boulevard leads to the National Museum of Art of Catalonia. The long magic fountain that graces the median of the boulevard was, unfortunately, not operating due to the pandemic. The museum, situated in the National Palace built for the 1929 World's Fair, has a modest collection of art, but we found one section to be particularly fascinating. The Romanesque frescoes in the museum are remarkable. They originally decorated rural churches in Catalonia, particularly in the Pyrenees, and were collected from those sites around 1900. The museum shows a film of how the frescoes were removed from the walls of the churches by gluing cloth to the images, then chiseling them away. After removal, the reverse was cleaned down to the paint and mounted on a durable substrate. Then the cloth glued to the front was carefully washed away. Today, we are walking through the oldest parts of Barcelona. The Gothic quarter, with its narrow labyrinthine streets, is the historic center of the old city. Only service vehicles are allowed here. Along the way, we stopped at this venerable old church on a small square. It was open to the public, so we took a look inside. The Baroque-style Basilica of Our Lady of Mercy was built in the 18th century. The interior features are in Rococo style, with rich marble cladding throughout and delicate latticework covering the upper galleries. A number of amazing chandeliers are mounted in the arches that stretch along the nave. The church is dedicated to the reported appearance of the Virgin Mary to a group of knights in Barcelona in the 13th century. The church organ is new, having been installed in 2018. We continued our walk, stopping here and there to admire classic gallerias and interesting architectural features, such as richly decorated walls, sculpted stone, intricate ironwork, massive arches, and secluded courtyards. This courtyard is located in a building that was a site in the 16th century of the brutal religious persecution known as the Spanish Inquisition. Barcelona Cathedral, officially called the Cathedral of the Holy Cross and Saint Eulalia, one of the patron saints of Barcelona, has a long history. A Christian church was built on this site in the 6th century but was destroyed during the Islamic era. Later, a Romanesque church was built, which then decayed into ruin before construction began on the current Gothic cathedral in about 1300. Most of the building dates to the 15th century, but this neo-Gothic facade was added around 1900. The church was closed when we passed by, so we could only admire the exterior. The El Born neighborhood takes its name from this former public market. The structure encloses archaeological ruins of buildings dating to the Middle Ages that were destroyed in 1714 after the conquest of Catalonia by Spain. In addition, the framework of the building itself is remarkable. Next, we walk through Ciutadella Park, a tranquil oasis in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the surrounding city. The 70-acre park takes its name from a citadel that once extended over a vast area of Barcelona and which was used by the Spanish king to control the subjugated city residents. We encountered these cute creatures grazing happily in the grass, and later found out that Barcelona has a large population of parakeets. The numbered license plates hanging around the necks of some of them have been placed by scientists studying the movements of the birds around the region. This pleasant fountain was built in 1888. A young Antoni Gaudí, later Spain's most famous architect, may have been involved in its design. A bridge leads to a large platform in the middle of this lake where we had a pleasant few moments sitting on a bench and enjoying the serenity of the park. Barcelona seems like a good place to be a bird. Casa Batlló is one of Antoni Gaudí's most famous buildings. The facade is decorated with a mosaic of broken glass and ceramic tiles, evoking an image of the surface of a lake with water lilies. A central courtyard decorated with ceramic tile provides light and ventilation to the interior of the building. Notice the undulating shape of the edge of the wooden staircase, which resembles the spine of an animal. Gaudí believed that architecture should be inspired by nature, and so there are hardly any straight lines or regular patterns. As we go up the staircase, a large rounded portal draws our attention to a potted plant and opens up the space. The curvaceous, dynamic interior creates a sense that the building is a living thing. Gaudí's intention was to bring about a sense of being underwater and the shades of green and blue of the stained glass create that effect. Everywhere there are curves and more curves. Gaudí designed not just the structure and layout of the rooms, but every aspect of the building down to the smallest details. The materials, the colors, and the shapes of the entire house, including furniture and decor. This used to be a children's room and contains a model of the house. There is almost no furniture in the house now, so as not to distract the visitor's attention from the already rich interior. Now we are moving out to the terrace, and here the themes and intricate detailing continue. It's like a garden, but created with glass, ceramics, and metal. Here, even in the midst of a great urban center, we feel relaxed because we are surrounded by Gaudí's interpretation of the natural world. In contrast to the irregular broken tile mosaics elsewhere, the floor tiles on the terrace suggest the geometry of a formal garden. As you can see, the house is much too large for a single family. The owner's intention was to have a B&B. Next, we will make our way to the top. Parquet floors and wood carving give the feeling that you are someplace special. Notice that each of the spaces has a unique design. The rooms flow together, however, as a harmonious whole. Imagine the work involved in translating Gaudí's fantastic visions into physical reality. Custom furniture was made based on Gaudí's drawings, but the little of it that remains is found mostly in museums. Here are two small chairs that are still left in the house. Gaudí believed that natural ventilation and light would be important to the residents. These windows have louvers below them to adjust the flow of air into the central courtyard. A central elevator is enclosed in wavy glass. The windows are smaller higher up and the colors of the tiles darker, so that lower down there's more air and light. The wooden elevator is original to the building and still serves to ferry visitors up and down. The distorted surface of the glass continues the underwater theme. Gaudí employed the most skilled artisans to craft the materials used in the building, and this glass is a good example. It creates the most remarkable illusion of looking down through the surface of clear, rippling water. We are walking up the staircase that leads to the attic. You can easily imagine yourself walking through the halls of an aquarium. It's certainly much more fascinating than most apartment building stairwells. As we approach the top, large frosted skylights admit gentle, diffuse light. 60 catenary arches support the roof of the attic, which contained laundry rooms and storage areas. These stairs lead to a roof terrace with a small cafe. The explosion of Gaudí's artistic expression continues, even on the rooftop. Notice the four-armed cross on the handle of the sword of St. George, who saved a princess from a dragon. The multicolored chimneys form the dragon's back. The chimneys are covered in broken tile mosaic, which is called trucandes in Catalan. The end of the tour leads through the basement, where visitors are subjected to a startling experience. Wonder what it is? In a windowless crypt behind massive mechanized sliding doors, a video surround theater offers an art presentation called 10D Experience, a journey into the mind of Gaudi. It's supposed to let you into the architect's brain while he created his masterpiece, so you can feel like a genius at work. So, was Gaudi a psychedelic drug user? I doubt it. He wouldn't have built much if he had been, or if he did, it would have fallen down long ago. All you really need if you want to be like Gaudi is pencil and paper, persistence, and a little imagination.